In tonight's sports news, Skerrit says Simmons was no mistake. SLFA equips worthy teams, and in tennis, Djokovic rules wasted opportunities. We ball off tonight's sports news of cricket. Newly elected Cricket West Indies President Ricky Skerrit says he intends to issue an apology to former head coach Phil Simmons for recent controversial comments by his predecessor Dave Cameron, who labelled the Trinidadians' hiring as a bad decision. And the former St. Kitts and Nevis government minister, who stunned Cameron in last Sunday's Cricket West Indies elections in Jamaica, hinted that the regional governing body was poised to settle the long-running legal dispute over damages with Simmons. In women's cricket, Barbados defeated Trinidad and Tobago by 28 runs at Enmore on Monday to defend the Colonial Medical Insurance Super 50 Cup. Deandra Doughton was the standout performer of the day and round. The player of the match struck 73 and took 6 for 43 as the defending champions held off the challenge of a valiant Trinidadians. Batting first, Barbados scored 242 for 7 of their 50 overs, thanks mainly to the efforts of Doughton and Kissia Knight, who top scored with 77. Much of the damage was done by Karishma Ramharak, who returned figures of 4 for 37. Renis Boyce and Stacey Ann King each scored 39, but Trinidad and Tobago were unable to get on top of the Barbadian bowling led by Doughton, who ripped the fight out of their rivals' batting. Trinidad and Tobago were bowled out for 217 of 47.5 overs. Change of sport now, football. The St. Lucia Football Association, Inc. held an appreciation ceremony at its headquarters in Leclerc on Monday, 25th March 2019, whereby its first division clubs, namely Big Players FC, El Niños FC, Knights FC, Moshi FC, Novel United, Platinum FC, Tivali FC, Upton Rebels, and BSADC were presented with much needed equipment to help them with their development program. This materialized with these clubs meeting the deadline and fulfilling the club licensing compliance program mandated by FIFA, CONCACAF, and by extension the local association. St. Lucia has been one of the country's foremost in their rigorous drive in seeing the materialization of the club licensing program, that it actually caught the eyes and approval of CONCACAF. So impressed was the region's governing body of the association commitment and fulfillment that it decided to reward the association with a donation of EC $500,000 to procure gear and equipment to the aforementioned clubs. We round up tonight's sports news with tennis. Petra Kvitova will not become world number 1 for the first time next week after she was beaten by Ashley Barty in the Miami Open quarterfinals. The Czech lost 7-6, 3-6, 6-2 hours after a man was jailed for 8 years for stabbing her at her home in 2016. Kvitova, 29, needed to reach the final to have a chance of replacing Naomi Osaka at the top of the rankings. Meanwhile, on the men's side, world number 1 Novak Djokovic blamed wasted opportunities after being beaten by Roberto Bautista Agut in the Miami Open 4th round. The sub, who went out in the 3rd round of Indian Wells last week, was beaten 1-6, 7-5, 6-3 by the Spaniard. Djokovic, a 6-time champion in Miami, also lost to Bautista Agut at the Qatar Open in January. With this piece on tennis, that's game, set and match on tonight's sports news.